I know that line up by the rules is actually an assignment, not notes, but I kind of feel like if I go over one of them that you guys will have a better idea of how to do this. So this says fill in the table, sketch the graph, and then determine the rule for each situation described below. So it says Bree was walking away from the motion detector at 3 feet per second. You missed where she started, but you know that she was at the 7-foot mark when the time called out 2 seconds. So there's 2 places that we can put this information. We have a 7-foot mark and 2 seconds. So when we look at everything that they kind of gave us, they gave us a table that says time, which we know is in seconds, and then this is distance from the motion detector, and it's in feet. So when it says 7-foot mark, that would be the distance, 2 seconds would be the time, so we have this point 2, 7, which we can put in the table, but then we can also put it on the graph. The other piece of information that they gave me was 3 feet per second. That would actually be her speed, or her rate of change. So if she's going at 3 feet per second, that means every second that passes, she's going another 3 feet. So if at 2 seconds I was at 7 feet, if I go 1 more second, that means that I should add 3. And so 7 plus 3, now I would be at 10 feet. And again, this is because she's moving away. That means that my distance should be going up. So now, if I wanted to go from 7 backwards, now I would have to subtract 3, and so this would be 4, and then I would subtract 3 again, and this would be 1. So again, this is my time in seconds, because we always want to make sure that our graphs are labeled. If we turn it sideways, this would be our distance, and in this problem, this is done in feet. That does change on different problems. And now I want to go ahead and plot the rest of my points. So I've got 0, 1, so that's here, 1, 4, 2, 7, and 3, 10. And I don't have a ruler, so I'm going to kind of do the best I can on my graph. So now it says, what is the slope and what does it represent? Well, we could always look at the graph and we could count our slope. Up, 1, 2, 3 over 1 and figure out that our slope is 3. But remember, another word for slope is rate of change. So if our rate of change is 3, that also means that her speed was 3 and we counted the slope. So for many reasons, our slope here is 3. And then it says, what does it represent in this problem? Well, when you're talking about slope, you have to remember that slope is delta y over delta x. Well, y in this problem is the distance, or the feet, and x is the time in seconds. So this is actually feet per second, which is actually how we figured out that it was feet per second, which is her speed. So you could put that this is Bree's speed in feet per second. Okay. The next question says, what is the y-intercept? Well, remember the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So if I look either in the table or on the graph, I should be able to see that 1, 0, 1, or this point right here, is where we cross the y-axis. So my y-intercept is 0, 1, and it says, what does this represent? Why did you die? Okay, sorry, for some reason the camera just died out, but hopefully it was still recording. So 0, 1 is our y-intercept. And so whenever we're trying to determine what it represents, remember this is our x and this is our y. Well, this is seconds and this is distance from the motion detector. So at 0 seconds, I was 1 foot from the motion detector. Well, 0 seconds means that time hasn't even started. So that means that Bree started 1 foot from the motion detector. Then the last question says, what is the algebraic rule? Or what is the equation? So remember, this is based on y equals mx plus b. Well, this is m, and this is b. So if I put those together, I get y equals 3x, and then plus 1. So the only thing you have to be careful on is down at the bottom on number 2, it now says Chris is walking toward. So now my distances should be getting less, which means my graph should be going down and my slope should be negative. So now we're going to kind of help translate a little bit. On the back, it says what information was given in each problem. Well, on that first problem that we just did, it gave me the slope of 3 feet per second. And then it also gave me that 0.27, which we put on both the graph and in the table. Then it says on number 6, how did we find the additional values in the data table? Well, if you go back and look at our work, you'll actually see we either added or subtracted the rate of change. So we've already got that answer. And then the one that I want you to mark out down here is number 9. Explain why all 4 of these represent a function. We haven't talked about that yet. Other than that, you guys should be ready to go on this worksheet.